Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be on my 52-week project half yearly review. So we've made it halfway, guys. 26 weeks down. I've actually gotten a bit further along than that now, and I'm only posting this video in September, which sounds really bad, but I am a bit further along than 26 weeks at the moment, just so you guys know. But this video is a pretty important one for me because I like to do a recap at the end of about 12 to 13 weeks or so, or however long it is for each quarter. And this is the half yearly point. So I really want to go through with you guys what images I'm really liking still from the last quarter of this year, and really go over some of the improvements that I've made and what I still need to improve on overall. I think in my last quarterly video, which the link is for down in the description, so if you guys want to go and watch that, you can. But in that video I was talking about getting a lot more studio work done, hopefully. And unfortunately that hasn't really happened too much in this quarter. I'm really hoping to focus on that for the second half of the year now. I'm really hoping to get into more studios. I do actually have a couple of studios that I'm looking at booking in the next few weeks, so that's kind of good. But yeah, I do need to work a little bit more on my studio fashion and beauty, especially. I really want to get more into beauty photography, so that's something that I definitely want to keep doing more of. This particular quarter though, I actually did feel like I pushed myself outside of the box a bit more, and that's what I wanted to do from last quarter. I wanted to create some more stylish photographs, focus on the fashion a lot more, which is pretty important considering fashion photography, and also trying to get some really edgy poses and very editorial looks together. So I think I really did achieve that in the end, and that's one thing that I'm so happy with over this past 13 weeks or so. I'm just so stoked that that ended up happening, because I was really worried from the last quarter, because I'd seen subtle improvements, but I felt like I just wasn't pushing myself hard enough, and I didn't want that to be the entire year of my project. I didn't want to stay at a level plane just the whole time. So I think in this quarter I've really tried to push myself and do different angles, get a bit lower or higher depending on where I am as opposed to the model, and trying to just experiment a lot more. And sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes it does. And I think especially in my last few shoots, I've been very, very happy with the results of them. And the fact that they're going in my portfolio does make me feel pretty confident about them, I think. So I'm going to go back through every shoot from this quarter and tell you guys whether I still like the images or what I think I could improve on a little bit more, or whether they're going in my portfolio at all. And you guys can see my thought process on how I'm thinking 13 weeks down the track of doing a photo shoot. Because I know that a thing with creatives and photographers in particular is that they will take a photo of something and they'll love the photo initially, and then about 2-3 weeks down the track it's like, I hate it, I can't have it in my portfolio. So unfortunately that is something that I do struggle with a lot, and I am quite ruthless sometimes when it does come to my own work. I feel like we're all our own worst critic, and in particular with my photos these days I am very ruthless with what I like and what I don't like when it comes to that 2-3 week mark after I've done the photos and edited them. And yeah, unfortunately you just kind of like lose that love for those images fairly quickly, because you just always feel like there's something else you can improve on, or there's ways you could have done things better. So that is my life at the moment, is improving and trying to improve as quickly and as much as I can. So now I'm going to go through every photo shoot from the last 13 weeks and the last quarter of this year, and show you guys which ones are going in my portfolio most likely and which ones won't be. Okay guys, so I'm going to quickly go through each session of the last 13 weeks or so, and it's just going to be for this quarterly session. If you want to check out the first quarter of the 52-week project, you can follow the link in the description box below, and that will take you to the last quarterly review that I did on those images. So today's video is going to show you guys the shoots that I've been working on for the past 13 weeks and some of my favorite images from those shoots. I'm not going to spend as much time going through each session because I feel like I'm just doubling up on what I've already done with the 52-week videos so far. So it's going to be a little bit more brief in terms of going through things. So this first shoot here was the first shoot of the second quarter, and I was really happy with how the images turned out in the end. I felt like I was feeling a little bit uninspired at the end of this day because we were so rushed in the studio, and then we did have the miscommunication about the model bringing clothes, and she unfortunately did not bring anything with her, so we literally just had the clothes on her back to work with. However, it was okay because we did what we could, and I did some beauty shots, and I feel like they turned out okay. I don't think that these will probably be in my portfolio. I don't think that they're probably some of my favorites from this year, but they were a really good experimental round of images, and I feel like I can't beat myself up too much about them because there were things that went wrong on the day, and I really wanted to experiment with this photo shoot and see what I could come up with. Sometimes it's nice to just be in a studio and be able to play around with different lighting setups and see what you can come up with. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with how this shoot went. This is the second shoot, and I really loved working with Boston, the model. I thought she was just amazing with her poses. She was so relaxed being there in the studio on the day, and I was really happy with how I was able to give her direction, and she just picked up on it straight away. I barely even had to give her that direction in the first place. So, I mean, I think that some of these shots really turned out well. I feel like there's a lot on my part that I needed to improve on here, and some of these shots, looking at them again, I'd probably choose maybe a different lighting setup, and I'd also probably choose some different styling. So I didn't really plan too much with the styling on the day. I just got Boston to bring along whatever she had and something similar to the mood board, and I feel like she did bring along stuff that was similar to the mood board. However, in future, if I was to do this shoot again, I'd make it a lot more simple. I think there's still too much going on in the images, even with the styling, and I really wanted to focus on that really simplistic, minimalistic makeup. And I feel like I didn't have that emphasis so much on the day. I think there was a little bit too much emphasis on the styling in the end, and I think it is a little bit distracting from the hair and makeup, and I was so happy with how the hair and makeup came out on this particular day. I just feel like there's things that I could have done in the planning process to make this better. There's probably a couple of images here that I would still have in my portfolio, and I think that it would probably be some of the photos that I'm focusing a little bit more on the makeup, or maybe images like this with the white outfit. I do prefer that over the black outfit later on in the shoot. So I think I'd probably put a few of those images into my portfolio in the end. Now moving on to Nikki's shoot, which was the third shoot of the last quarter. So I really like how Nikki's shoot turned out overall, and there's still definitely images that I would use in terms of the beauty ones for my portfolio. I really love this image still. I think she looks like a little fairy or a little pixie, and I just think that it really communicated what we wanted in the mood board, and especially with makeup and hair, and it was all just really beautifully done in the end. So I think that there's definitely a few here that I would probably put in my portfolio still. I think there's a little bit more that I have to learn with certain types of studio lighting. I think there's different experimental things that I need to do with images in the studio, and I'm just not quite there yet. I can see it in looking at some of these images. I think that these are some of the best ones I've taken so far in the year for beauty, but I do think there's a lot more that I can improve on. And even with the retouching, I think with some of these, they're just maybe that little bit too glowy and a little bit too unrealistic looking. I don't know, I'm really my own worst critic when it comes to especially retouching, because I do so much of it, and I feel like I can quite easily tell if I go back to something after working on it on a long time or a long period of time that it's been overdone, and I think some of these are a little bit overdone. Nikki had amazing skin, and I really didn't need to push it too much with the retouching, so I think that's why I notice it so much in this shoot. However, there's definitely still a few images that I would keep for my portfolio, and I'm pretty happy with how those beauty images turned out overall. Now we're moving on to Selena's shoot, which was the fourth shoot, and there's definitely things with this shoot as well that I think I could have done a lot better. I don't think I had a really set theme for this shoot, and it shows. I think obviously we have the red makeup going on with the beauty shoot part of it, and then I kind of moved into using a yellow backdrop and showing more of the clothing, and I just don't, me personally looking back at this shoot, I don't really understand the theme. We kind of had more of a distinct beauty theme going on, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like peeled back and we're doing a little bit more emphasis on the clothing and the yellow. I'm just not sure how it all works together, and I'm not really sure if I'd do things the same way if I could photograph this shoot again, especially because Selena was an amazing model and the hair and makeup was beautifully done. I love that creative team that I work with, Megan and Simone, the makeup artist and hairstylist. are just great, and they can do anything. And I just feel like maybe I didn't capture this in the way that I wanted to, or maybe in a well enough prepared fashion. So I think that some of the images, like this one and like the closer up beauty shot, I do really love. I think I'd love to do more of those types of shots, but I'm still improving with a lot of studio work and really just getting the type of mood board and communicating that across to everyone, and really getting a solid idea in the first place, I think, is sometimes my issue. I don't have enough of a solid idea. So I think that's something that I definitely need to work on for the next quarter. And this particular shoot is with Leah, and I really like some of these images still. I like this photo in particular. There's a few here that I think could have been a little bit better. I did really love these images when I first shot them, and now I sort of look back at a few of them and I think I could have done a lot better with photographing them. However, you know, this is all a learning curve, and this is all about really training my eye throughout the year. And especially with a fashion look, I think there's definitely things we could have improved on here with styling. I did the styling for the shoot, and I like some of it, but I do think some of it can be really improved. Particularly with these shots, I think these are just my favorite because they're the most natural and pared back, I think, overall. And I still really like how they look, so I'd probably go ahead and put a couple of those in my portfolio. But overall, there's definitely a lot that I'd change with this shoot. So this shoot was with Hannah. So with this particular session, it was Hannah's, or one of Hannah's first shoots. And I feel like a lot of the session was definitely easing her into the shoot and giving her different tips on modeling and how to angle her face and different posing. So a lot of that did take up quite a bit of this session, but I do feel like overall the shots look pretty good. For someone it was their first shoot, it's not always easy to get the shots that you want, and I feel like Hannah was pretty relaxed for most of the shoot, and she was pretty natural with a lot of her posing, which was really helpful. And I think that a few of the images are really pretty and really cute, but some of them I probably wouldn't bother putting in my portfolio. They're just nice images. I do like a couple of these for commercially, for my commercial portfolio. I'd love to have something like this for commercial fashion. So I might put a few of these in my portfolio, but quite a few of the shots probably won't be going in there due to the fact that it was just a lot of nice images that were taken on the day, and that was pretty much on my part. Okay, and here we have Ruby's shoot, and Ruby's shoot was one of my favorites for the year so far. I just loved how everything came together with this shoot. There was no creative team, it was just me and the model, and it was really amazing. I was just so impressed with the clothes that Ruby brought along. She was really prepared. She had everything that the mood board was basically asking for, and she styled herself so well to the theme of 1980s for the shoot, and her hair was amazing, her makeup was great, everything just worked, and she was such a relaxed poser, and just everything that she was doing was right for this shoot. So I was super happy with how everything came out. Definitely there's images from this shoot that are going in my portfolio, and I'd love to do more of this type of style of shoot. I love doing vintage kind of photo shoots and taking things from different eras. So really loved how this shoot turned out, and so happy with the fact that I have a few shoots from this year where I can honestly say I'm just really keen to put images in my portfolio from. And this is Gopikas Shoot. So Gopika, I did a really natural shoot with her, and it was very raw, very pared back. She barely had any makeup on, and I didn't really want her to do anything with her hair either. I just wanted to get a really raw shoot out of this. I actually did a similar shoot with Olivia, who I'm going to show you her photos next. But this was just something that I wanted to do so I could prove to myself that I could take really natural shots without any sort of makeup or too much retouching. I just wanted to get something really simple going that I could take away from my portfolio. And I think I've still got a few images here that I really like, particularly with this black and white one. I don't know why I like this photo so much, that I just do. I think it's really raw. So I was really happy to get some more images out of this shoot for my portfolio. And here is Olivia's shoot, the following shoot that I did. And once again, wanted to get something really raw for my portfolio, and I think that I really got those images that I needed. These are really good to send through to agencies, I feel, when you're asking to do test shoots, because they can see that you can do a natural look with models and you can photograph
something that's very natural and showing off their features well, hopefully they'd be more inclined to let you photograph their models if you've got something like this to show. So it's really why I'm excited to have some of these in my portfolio. I feel like I don't have enough sometimes. There's so much emphasis on fashion and makeup, so it's nice to have something that is a little bit more pared back. And this particular shoot was done with Shiying, and I loved doing this shoot with her. She was amazing with posing. I think I mentioned in the 52-week video I did for this that she pretty much asked me straight up, do you want me to do crazy posing for this photo shoot? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And not everyone can do that kind of posing where it's so out there that they feel uncomfortable maybe, or they feel like they look silly, and she just didn't care. And I loved that because I ended up getting some of my favorite photos for the year from this shoot. And I think I was just so pleased with how they all came out. And I feel like it was just giving my photos, or starting to give my photos, a little bit more of a fashion edge. I feel like I can see it coming through in shoots like this. And when you've got such a great model, it just makes things so much easier. And this is Tamika's photo shoot. Now, I used the new Lens Baby lens on this particular shoot with Tamika, and it was really fun. It was really cool to experiment with some interesting imagery and do something a little bit different for once. We really played around with the styling that she brought along on the day, and I feel like it kind of had this cool, relaxed look to it, and a little bit different to what I usually do on photo shoots. So I was pretty happy to experiment on this day, and Tamika was really great with understanding direction as well. So I think there's definitely a few images here that I'd love to pop in my portfolio just for something different and for something with a pop of color. Oh my gosh, and of course there was Rebecca's shoot, which of course you guys probably know if you've seen the video. I absolutely loved shooting with Rebecca. She was just amazing, like hands down one of the best models that I've had ever on a photo shoot as far as posing and expressions. She was just so great, and it was just effortless, the whole shoot with her. If there was things that I could improve on, it would definitely be with the styling that I initially brought along. I think she did well with the styling that she brought along, but I feel like there's probably a lot I could have improved on in terms of bringing things along and really being a little bit more prepared for the shoot. Because if I was prepared for this shoot, or more so, I feel like it would have just been the next level for me. And that's really what I wanted out of this shoot, but I was so happy with what I ended up getting that it was definitely one of my most favorite shoots for the year so far. And this is Jamie's shoot. This was the last photo shoot for the second quarter of the 52-week project, so the half-yearly mark. So 26 photo shoots down and dusted. And this was a really cool vintage kind of shoot that we just did around the suburbs of Melbourne, and she brought all of her clothing along. It was really cool and trendy and had that really vintage vibe. So I was pretty happy with a lot of these shots. I think I could have been a little bit more out there in terms of posing Jamie and getting her to do different expressions, but I think overall it turned out pretty well, and I think that there's probably a few things that I'd definitely improve on. There's maybe only one or two images from the shoot where I'd put it in my portfolio, but overall I think I was pretty happy with the end result. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed looking through all of the last 13 weeks of photo shoots, and I'm going to put in, just after this clip, my favourite 5 images from the previous quarter and the ones that will definitely be going in my portfolio. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this quarter of the 52-week project, and it's on to the next quarter now. So we are more than halfway done. I think I'm into the 30s with the amount of photo shoots that I've done, so hopefully we can keep it going for the rest of the year.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please let me know what you'd like to see in the next 26 weeks of the 52-week project. I am looking at changing the structure of everything, so I think the next video you see might be a little bit different compared to the first half of this year. I am trying to make it a little bit more interesting for you guys, and maybe shortening some of the videos because I think some of them can be a little bit too long sometimes, but we will see how we go with that. And guys, please let me know if there's anything in particular you would like to see in these upcoming videos, and I can definitely see if there's a way to work in those requests into the videos. And if you'd like to join the 52-week photography project groups on Facebook and Flickr, you can do so. The links are down in the description box below. I'm most active on the Facebook group, so you will see a lot more of my posts and everyone else's posts in there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!